Hello, everybody, and welcome back. Brand new Attack On show. I'm Robbie.
And I am J Marsh.
And I am super excited for today's review because honestly, years ago, What? I help lead the charge.
You
Save
did.
the Clone Wars. Every time this comes up, I'm going to bring it up. Because we are here today.
My argument is, go ahead.
Still talking about Clone Wars, although they renamed it Tales of the Jedi for the 6-part miniseries on Disney+. And we're going to review and let you know, is this worth your time on Binge-worthy?
Binge-worthy!
I want to bring peace and order to the galaxy.
Master, stop! All right, we're back and finally covering a series not on Netflix. We're taking a look at Disney Plus's Tales of the Jedi.
Tales of the Jedi, yay!
Clone Wars is still running strong. Dave Filoni's getting more and more in power. Kathleen Kennedy's on the way out.
She's not. We've been
As
saying
if
this
we've
for
called
years.
this.
This is not going to happen.
Well, we're 95% accurate.
We are.
We hounded for Clone Wars.
We did.
Clone Wars came back. Bad Batch is out.
Bad Batch is Clone Wars.
Yes.
This?
What?
I don't think this is Clone Wars.
We're gonna fight. It's the same artist. It's the exact same.
Is there a clone in this?
Yes. Rex. There's a bunch of clones. There's a whole 501st show up in it.
I forgot that.
Man. Did you watch it?
Yes, I did.
Okay. Anyway, Disney Plus and Lucasfilm recently released a 6-part miniseries, they call it.
It is definitely a miniseries, yes.
They say like mini episodes. However, I was really happy when they released these that they're still like 21-minute episodes, which, you know.
That is what? Like a couple minutes short of a Clone Wars show?
Yeah.
24
without
minutes
commercials, they generally go 24, 25 minutes.
Yeah.
So they are actually full episodes for the Clone Wars fans out there. This is Dave Filoni. This is ran by Dave Filoni. These are his stories. These are stories that he had that he wanted to produce on the Clone Wars before it was canceled by the evil Kathleen Kennedy. However, they were able to make these 6-part miniseries, and they follow. You get 3-part episode storylines with Ahsoka.
Yes.
And then you also get a 3-part storyline arc on the early days of Count Dooku.
Far superior 3-arc.
Yeah.
Of Count Dooku.
Yeah, the dark hair.
That was phenomenal. It was so well done. It was just even the... are we getting into that at this point?
Yeah, one thing I do want to say when we start talking storyline, before we get into storyline, this is something that I kind of figured out after the fact, is we were confused at the layout that the first episode is Ahsoka, then you get your 3-part
What is
Count
that?
Dooku.
Why
I'm going to tell you why. And then you get 2 more Ahsoka episodes.
Oh, because...
It's chronological.
Ahsoka is Jedi.
Which is why they split it up, because the first episode is Ahsoka being born.
That was one of my critiques in the whole thing. I feel like the Ahsoka being born was to pull the kids in before it got super dark with the Count Dooku. Literally, they show some cute, and it's like, look, it's Ahsoka, everybody. And then, oh.
Do not fear it.
I feel, and it kind of worked. It kind of worked. Miney should have staggered him. There could have been another thing. It's just like I really feel like the Ahsoka first was kind of a grab, like, oh, look.
Yeah.
And look, it's Ahsoka.
Ahsoka.
I will say that the first episode to me is the weakest of the 6.
Thank you. Yeah.
Like that to me, I was like, this was not a great way to kick it off. Which was also kind of like, what are we, like,
it was the tone in the first episode compared to the other 5 isn't even close, right? It's not like, if I struggled through the first episode. I was like,
what are we in for?
What is, God. Like, it was like I walked up into the other room and came back. I was like, hey, what's for dinner? And came back, and it was like, oh, when it came to Dooku.
Yeah. No, and I want to preference that because for those of you out there that are going to give the show a try, stick past the first episode.
Yeah, please hold on to it, because I'm going to tell you, like, the Dooku episodes, which I'm going to focus on, I thought were amazing, tells a story, and it's going to be hard because I don't want to do spoilers. It's really going to be hard through all of this. Is so important, and I think this fills in such an incredible, like, Dooku's fall.
Well, there's huge
There's
huge
like,
plot holes from the prequels that I think these shorts just fill in perfectly.
Especially when it comes to Dooku, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, it tells the fall of Dooku.
Well, not only the fall of Dooku.
His disgust at the Republic and why, and you're almost rooting for him. You're not almost rooting for him. You're rooting for him. You're like, I get it. I know why he did this now.
Well,
right?
yes, and I think it lays the, like the Master Sifo-Dyas, there's those questions that you kind of had of, when Dooku pops up and talks to Obi-Wan in Attack of the Clones,
Sure.
he's like, Qui-Gon once thought of you. And that was their thought as I did, and you're like, well, wait a minute, he was with Qui-Gon, and, you find out that Dooku was an old Jedi. Well, what was he like? This gives you a preview into him being a Jedi, but I love the idea that they do backtrack quite a bit with him to show kind of like the first time he starts questioning the Senate and how they're treating their people. And it builds that deep, dark seed in Dooku where it's not just one little thing. Or I think a lot of people had issues with Anakin's turn.
Sure.
Where they were like, wait, he's just turning now? To whereas Dooku, I love that they cover such a long time span with him because it really sets in of like, he's been questioning this for a long time.
And he had a lot of incidences, and this is basically what it is that had turned him. And it's interesting because I'm going to say this: watch who pulls for the lightsaber first in every scenario.
Oh yeah,
it's really cool to see. Like, yeah.
But it's great because you do get a flashback of Qui-Gon and him, and Qui-Gon being his apprentice, which is really neat. You also get a Mace Windu and Count Dooku.
That almost has a good cop, bad cop feel about it.
With Mace Windu.
Yes. Yeah.
I also love the idea that you really get to see. I think a lot of people have questioned Mace Windu's personality. And this kind of cements like, oh, he has always been like that.
Yeah.
Where you not only do you get to view Dooku's view of the Senate, but you kind of get to see, Anakin question the Jedi.
Or the Republic.
And their motives. And you get to see kind of Dooku fall through all that as well, of even starting to question the Jedi's motives. Are they thinking clearly?
Yeah.
Which, we get to see that play out throughout.
Mace Windu is a complete
movies.
company man.
Yes.
Yes.
But it is a great storyline. One of the things I want to point out in the Dooku series is Ian McDiarmid voicing the Emperor. Not the Emperor yet. Palpatine.
Yes, and it shows, man, doesn't it?
But I love they raise the bass and deep tones of his voice in this
to make it
in that episode, and it's so evil sounding.
You lost an apprentice, and so did I. All in service of our greater goals.
I mean, he's rumbling my floor when I'm watching and it just sounds so scary. I loved what they did to his voice in that. It was so creepy.
It's a great.
Always.
So I was really happy that they got Ian McDiarmid to come in and do Palpatine, his voice, and it was beyond creepy. However,
I will say, and I just want to point out something before you get caught before you go and talk about the Ahsoka portion. The artwork in this is exceptional. There's a kind of a tone. There is a lot of texture that you didn't see in other Clone Wars stuff. Again, that's why I claim this really isn't Clone Wars, but it's different. And it's beautiful, actually. And there's one of the things that really points out in the first episode, when you look at it, you're like, God, this is absolutely beautiful.
No, I mean, the Clone Wars animation I've always thought was superior to when they went to Disney and Rebels. That Rebels seemed really plastic and shiny and flat, like the landscapes were really flat, whereas Clone Wars always had such elaborate landscapes and so many moving parts, and it would always do these aerial shots that were just amazing. And then when you get into the characters, I love that you can kind of see the painted strokes in their skin and their hair.
And this
it
is
looks
very,
painted and it's
wrinkled hands, and you can almost see the brush strokes.
Yes, and it's amazing. It's a purposely done painted animation. I think a lot of people never picked up on that with Clone Wars. I think they just thought it was bad animation, but it was purposely made.
And it's so different. I mean, Clone Wars from season 1 to season 7 is incredibly,
Especially when you got the last few episodes on Disney when they released the season 7, you could see a huge improvement in the animation. However, it is this core animation just improved. But the Ahsoka episodes.
Go ahead, there you go, because this is going to be like a 30-minute episode.
It just validates all the more reason why Ahsoka is becoming everybody's favorite. I'll say Jedi. No, she's not technically a Jedi. She's a gray Jedi, if you want to call it that. But it laminates why she's everybody's favorite, especially in the final episode. However, I do think the irony that they place, there's a training episode that Anakin puts her through, and the irony of what he is putting her through is just, it's heartbreaking.
It is.
When you know the characters and the relationship between Ahsoka and Anakin, it explains a lot as to, a lot of people will question why is she still in Mandalorian, how is she still popping up? And I thought that was just a beautiful way, because I know people had issues of how, every other Jedi got killed in Order 66, and of course Ahsoka lives. This will fill in that plot hole as to why she lives, how she's able to.
Yes.
And it's so well done.
That, and also,
No, go ahead.
Well, you know, there's a lot of debate right now about that, whether, I will just say this, Anakin could smoke Ahsoka in a lightsaber deal no matter what. No matter, like, people who want him out of this argument, like, he's the chosen one, for God's sakes. There's no...
Yeah, but we found out a prophecy misunderstood. It could have been. He was the chosen one in one of the storylines in Clone Wars.
Yeah, I'm just saying. I'm just telling you right now, he could totally, there's no question.
No,
I know this is a hot debate right now on the
No.
YouTubes, and there's just, I mean, yeah.
No, and I think another thing that this points out with the Dooku story is there's always the argument of, you know, the Jedi were flawed. They were so rooted in their
incredibly
old
flawed by that
ways
point, yes.
and not having emotion or attachments that you can see if you followed the Dooku, Qui-Gon, Anakin,
It was
and
all right there.
That there's this middle ground they should have walked on, and they could have been more powerful and could have stopped the dark side.
Sure.
But they ignored those instincts.
Literally did.
Which is why I will say I think Ahsoka's the better Jedi, because she has
Not
been
a
able to
Jedi.
continue, she's been able to continue and train and have these fighting skills for a lot of, this whole time.
I agree,
While
yes.
Darth Vader has kind of had the Inquisitors, everybody out there fighting for him and kind of finishing the job. I think Ahsoka could take him. In fact, we got to have the square off in Rebels, and I thought she held her ground very well against
Well,
them.
again, though, but she was saved because he was about ready to take her out.
He came out injured. Remember, they did it first.
I'm just telling you.
But I am going to say, we'll rate this because it's 6 mini-part episodes, and I don't think we should talk longer than it would take to watch all of them. I'm giving this thing a 5 out of 5 on Attack on Show.
I struggled with this, but I got to go 5 out of 5. Again, first episode is nowhere near a 5.
No.
It's probably a 3 out of 5, but everything else is 5 out of 5. So
Everything else would be 10 out of 5, so that brings it up.
Oh, wow.
Right? You gotta go higher than 5 to bring the average up. Huge fanboy. Dave Filoni, still together, man. I'm loving it. Keep doing what you do. Running Star Wars, you're making it great. I love it. I love it. So if you haven't checked it out or you have checked it out, agree, disagree with us, leave us comments below. We want to hear from you. The Clone Wars fans, we all fought for this. We wanted it. I think they're delivering. Let's hear from you.
Amen.
Yes. And while they're down there.
Oh, I'm sorry. That was my cue, and I missed it. Make sure you click the like button. Make sure you subscribe. And also make sure you click the bell so that you see all our incredible content that is just coming at you now.
Shooter Gavin.
Yes.
Love it. Thank you for watching. As always, I'm Rob E.
And I am J Marsh.
And this is
Attack on Show.